Hi everybody, I'm Mrs. Weld of Wayne and this is my crafting world. And we're going a bit off track at the moment. I know I am still building the Cutebee Quiet House and you will see some more videos coming up in the next couple of weeks. However, the wonderful people over at Cutebee have sent me a Book Nook. And so we decided that actually what we'll do is we'll do one video to show you this Book Nook. So over at Cutebee, they do a number of different types of Book Nook. If you check out their website, you will see, and there are some at the back. But the one we're going to be doing is this Sea Hunter one. It's pirate themed. Now, if you're not sure what a Book Nook is, then it's actually a miniature that sits snugly in between your books on a bookshelf. Now, these have become really popular recently, and if you look on YouTube, you can see people that have made their own ones. If you're in the UK, you'll understand the size I'm sort of giving you here, but it's about the size of an Oxford English Dictionary, the large ones. Probably about so big, what's that? About 10 centimetres usually wide. You'll see when this one's finished the sort of size they're looking at, but this one has lights and everything added into it. So let's get cracking. So first of all, I'm really impressed with the instructions, completely different to the miniature houses that we've seen and that we're currently doing. It gives you a full list of what they're going to give you. So we've actually got the battery box, we've got some stickers, some wax paper. This is an emery board or a nail file, just for filing down those little edges. There's only one paper resource here with a few elements on, and we've got our LED lights. Now you do need some AAA batteries to get this lit up. And as we flick through the book, we can see the different side panels that have got the bits and pieces in. So I'm just going to flick quickly through. I think this would just look so cute on a children's bookcase. It is really, really cute. So we've got some pirates, we've got some ghosts. But what's really impressive, and you don't usually get this on a Book Nook, is that the outside is decorated. Because ordinarily they get put in between your books on your bookcase, you're more interested in what's going on the inside. But with this one here especially from Cutebee, actually it's an ornament in itself. So if you didn't have a bookcase or you just had a shelf and you wanted it to go on top, perfect, because actually the outside of it looks amazing. So let's have a look inside the box. So first of all, we've got our bag, and in here we've got our LED lights, our nail file or our emery board. We've got the sticky pads that they were talking about and the battery box. Now, just to save me a little bit of time, you can see that I've already started to cut some of these bits out, but this is just the one sheet of paper that you get with the paper elements on. This is the waxed paper that they're talking about. And then these are all the bits. And as you can see, they come wrapped in cellophane so that nothing is going to move. So let's open it up and have a look. Now, when I was talking about the outside being decorated, these are the panels. And they are absolutely beautiful. I mean, from my point of view, they're a work of art in themselves. And I love the fact that you've got all these different sea creatures on them. So that forms part of the outside. But if we have a look in our instructions, what they want us to do is to start making some of the smaller elements first. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to put these side panels to one side, and I'm looking for the cannon. If I show you up here, each piece is numbered, and F dictates the board that I'm looking for. So when you look at all your boards, you will see that they're all all we've got letters on as well, and that's where we're heading for. And this is my little cannon down here. So what it's asking us to do is to pop these out. Now they are usually just held in a couple of places because these have all been laser cut. So I'm just going to go and just double check where I think, or where I can see that they are still attached. Now they do say that these parts need to be glued, and I'm not using my trusty tacky glue today. However, in all honesty, I think Aileen's tacky glue would be perfect for this, but I've gone one better, and I've gone for my Gorilla wood glue. And this particular pot of glue was given in a goodie bag at Maker Central, when we went at the NEC. So this is my freebie, and you've got to love a freebie. And I also need F9. When you are poking these little bits through, try and keep this as flat as possible. You certainly don't want to snap anything. The instructions are telling me that these parts stick or slot in like so, and that I can put a spot of glue on them to keep them in place. But what I am going to do is just use the file just to get rid of any rough edges that there may be. The rough edges are only going to be from where you've snapped the bits or broken the bits off that it was secured onto, and that's just going to give a little bit of a neater finish. Okay, so the pieces are going to slot in just like this. Now you will notice on your side panels for your cannon that you have one side that is stained and one side that isn't. Now when you're putting it together, you will have one stained section inside and one unstained section inside. And that is correct, because when you're going to be looking at it, before I stick that together, if you can imagine, if I put it like this, you just want to be able to see the stained sections. All right, so don't think that that's wrong. Don't think that you have to stain it yourself. That is absolutely correct. Now these are slotting in really, really tightly. So for these bits, I'm not actually going to bother putting in any glue. So how's everyone been? We had an amazing time in America. Met some fantastic people. So Lou and Will and Victoria, if you're watching, made some brilliant memories. But now we've had to come back and go back to work. So there you have it. That's the first bit. And then what I'm going to do is I am now going to put a splodge of glue onto each end so that I can stick the wheels on. Now again, the wheels, one side is varnished, one side isn't. There aren't any placement marks. So what I'm doing is just using the instruction booklet as a guide. I'm going to leave these two to glue, and then I'll glue the others on afterwards. And then once they are glued on and they're nice and firm, I love Gorilla Glue because it doesn't take too long to dry. Then we put some glue and we put in the cannon itself. Now that is literally, looking at it, just held with some glue there, and I am just going to pop a little bit at the end, and there you have it. So I've still got the wheels from the other side, and I'll add those on when they're dry. But I can now put this to one side. Now in the instructions, their next step is to make a book. Now I know we've made some of these for the Quiet House, so I'm going to leave that and do that till last, and actually put the wooden elements together and show you how they go. So now we're looking for G, and we're going to put together a sack. Okay, so here's ball G, and we've got our sack pieces up here. So they just need to be cut out and glued. I do actually think that this is a really, really nice kit for a child. Once all these bits are cut out, then there's no reason why they can't put it together themselves. So just a little bit of adult supervision, but then that makes it a really nice project if you're looking for something crafty, especially over the holidays. Yeah, I think this would be something really, really nice that you could do together. Doesn't have to be done in one sitting. So let's pull those out. And what's also good is that the wonderful people over at Cutebee have actually given us a discount code as well. So if you are interested in creating your own book nook, the discount code isn't just for this particular book nook. You can choose one of their others, but it might be a really nice, worthwhile project. I'm just going to check the edges. There's a few little bits, but nothing major on these. Now these 4 sacks make 2 sacks, if that makes sense. So basically you're just matching up. They are 2 different sizes. So just match these up and then just pop a spot of glue and glue those. So let's get that done now. I'm not sure if you can hear Phoebe barking outside. She really doesn't like me being in the workshop. She never ever barks when Wayne is out here. But the minute I come out here and lock that door, she scratches at the door. She sits outside and moans. So there's one. Let's pop that down there. There's number 2. So I'll just place those to the side. So I think you can start to see how quickly this can be put together. So a nice afternoon project. The next bit we're looking for is board D, and we're putting together a wooden chest. It's not a treasure chest, not this time, but we're looking for these sections down here. I do really like the way this all just snaps together. So as I say, the instructions are saying to glue it. I'll see how tight the connections are. If you're going to move it around a lot, then obviously, yeah, definitely glue. If it's just going to be built, go on your bookcase or go on a shelf, then that's up to you. But here's our pieces. So what we've got is we've got a top, a bottom, and our 4 side panels. So when you're clipping it together, just make sure that all of these panels are around the correct way. So on our base, we want the unpatterned or the unvarnished side facing up, and then with all our pieces for the sides, we want the pattern looking out. These are a little bit loose, so I am just going to pop a blob of glue on each one as I stick it in. Now I am also going to make sure I stick them up the right way, otherwise your crate is going to look a little bit odd. So I want to make sure that all the diagonals look okay. Don't worry too much at the moment, the fact that they're not sturdy. Once all the pieces are in, they will support each other.
A few moments later.
And there you have it. Just wipe off the excess glue. Brilliant. Put that one to one side. Moving on. Oh, now we've got our treasure chest. And that's also in box D. And we're looking, D11 to D, that's a bit odd. D11, but I also need D23. So where's D11? There it is. Let's get these cut out. Do remember, when you're poking these out, just a little bit of pressure. All right, you don't want anything. I know I've said this before, but you don't want anything to break. So if it doesn't come out at your first go, then just check the sides again for those little bits where it's still attached. Those ones. Now I know Wayne has been telling people a bit about our trip to America, but I'm not quite sure he has said how in awe I am of your craft shops. I spent a wonderful afternoon with Phil over at Spruverse with his wife Catherine, and we went to Michael's and we went to Joanne's. Just absolutely fantastic shops. I was in my complete element. And then the day before, we were driving down to go and see Lou from Aztec Dummy, and they took me to a Hobby Lobby. But I literally it was like a supermarket sweep. They gave me about 30 minutes in there. All right, if you've ever been to a Hobby Lobby, there's no way in a million years you can give that shop justice in 30 minutes. So anyway, I did manage to make a few purchases before we left. But then the following day, Catherine took me, let's say, to Joanne's and to Michael's. And I spent a little bit more money buying fabric because I love buying fabric. And then towards the end of my trip when we were in Kentucky, I had the pleasure of spending an afternoon with Victoria, and we went back to Hobby Lobby, and I literally shopped till I dropped. I enjoyed every single minute. This bit here, this D12, this bit bends. It makes the dome at the top of the treasure chest. So be really careful when you're trying to get it out, because you certainly don't want this to snap. So I'm just going to double check that I've got all my parts. I should have 2 end parts, 3 bits, yes. And the top bit there. So once again, I'm just going to check for any little bits that need sanding down. Little spot of glue. And then I can start attaching these pieces. Now, do be aware, these are matching. So they're the side pieces and this is the base. Okay, so I've stuck on the 2 sides, and now I'm, the 2 end parts, and now I'm going to slot in the sides. And once again, that'll give it rigidity and it will hold it all up. How good was that? Now again, on the base, it does come with one that's not varnished and one that is. On this occasion, I decided to make sure that that varnished bit again was on the outside. Now comes the tricky part. Now, I'm hoping that you can see this has all got little cuts, and those cuts will enable you to bend. Now this is going to be glued into these slots here. Let's see how we go. Okay, so I'm going to put some glue here. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to hold this in place. That's gone in really well, actually. Now what I need to do is I'm just going to check to see how easy it is for me to bend this and put it in place, or whether I need to wait for the glue. Right, I actually think this will all hold. So I'm going to put my glue in and then I'm going to bend it over. You have to be a little bit brave when you're the bending. When I was just doing it just a minute ago, I was like, oh, I hope it doesn't break. It does creak a little bit. I don't know if you can hear that on camera. Obviously, because this wood hasn't been bent before. I seem to have a few more gaps at the top than I possibly should have. But a little bit more manipulation and that will get that down. But I like that. I think that looks really cool. So we'll put this to the side, let this dry, and we can move on. Okay, so now we're going to make the ladders, and the ladder is made from these 2 parts here and some parts from another board. So I'm going to get these ones cut out first. It's really strange because if I talk about a galleon ship at school, then the children aren't quite sure what I mean. As soon as you say to them, it's like a pirate ship, they're there. We were studying the poem The Highwayman by Alfred Noyes, and right at the very beginning of the poem it talks about how it describes the weather, and it says that the clouds the moon was tossed like a ghostly galleon, something like that. I can't quite remember now. And they didn't have a clue what a galleon was. But as soon as I described it, like a pirate ship, yeah, they were there. They were all with me. These are the section. So this is board H, and these are the bits I need down here. You can actually hear a really satisfying crunch when you've sliced through those tiny, tiny joints that are still left. So once again, I'll just check over these, and if they need a bit of filing down, I'll file them down. Now, once again, we're back to this situation where one side is varnished and one side isn't. So when you're putting this together, what you need to think about are what parts are you going to see. So one varnished side is going to go on the inside of the ladder, and one is going to go on the outside. All right. So I turn to the camera like so. Yeah. So this side would be able to see, and this will be on the outside of the ladder. This side will be able to see. This is going to be on the inside of the ladder. So that's what you just need to remember. What am I going to be looking at? What you don't want to do is to see any of this unstained side. So I'm going to start putting in the rungs of the ladder. And again, I'm going to just double check and see how secure they are. I think they're going to slot in there without the need for any glue. So I'm going to get these put in and I'll show you when I'm done.
A few moments later.
And there you have it, a set of step ladders. Okay, so we still do have a banister rail to put on those stairs, but I want them to dry first before I attempt putting those on. So now what we're going to do is cut out our barrels. And we're also at the same time going to cut out the hat and the pistol so that they can sit on top of the box that we've already made. So I'm back to D for my crates, or for my barrels I should say, sorry. And just as with the sacks, these get glued onto each other so that they look like barrels from both sides. And here we've got F7, which is the pirate hat. On board E, we've got the musket. Now there are, or the pistol I should say, sorry. There are two of these, so I'm going to cut out the two. It might be that we have to glue them. No, that's not going to work. I'll double check the picture. Maybe there were two in the picture. I'm going to bring back the trunk that we had, and I'm going to glue the hat and one of the pistols. Now they can't be glued together because they're going in the same direction. So I am just going to pop one to the side. Just a little bit of glue. Just to hold them in position. Like so. And then just glue the barrels. The barrels do have a top and a bottom, so just again make sure when you're gluing them together that they are glued the right way up. I have to say I haven't found an awful lot that needs filing down. Probably famous last words and all that. But so far I am really impressed with the quality of this kit. The instructions are so clear. The pieces just look brilliant. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to start moving on. So this is now step 10 to the internal structures of what we see on the pirate ship. Okay, so I'm looking for G3 and then P2 and P3. So P relates to the paper and 2 and 3 are those sections here. So as I said to you before, I'd already cut most of them out, so I can just snip along. So P2 and P3. So I'm looking for G3. Okay, so here we are, and this is G3 just up here. Okay, so here we are, and what we're going to do is we are going to glue these windows behind here. Now on the actual cutout, it had the window and it also gave a white frame. Now I cut around the frame. It doesn't make it explicit, so I am just going to double check to make sure I've done it right. Yeah, okay, that's what it's going to look like. So let's get those glued into place. Now I'm going to glue direct onto the wood. I haven't actually got any of my tacky glue to hand, so I am just going to use the wood glue for this. And then just check from the other side to make sure that I can't see any white border. What you can see down here is how they've faded out for it to look as though there's light shining behind. So we've now got our two windows. It's really funny because on camera it does look as though there's a big white square and there's really not. Okay, so that's that part done. Now step 11 shows that this is now stuck onto one of the baseboards. So let's get hold of that, and that's F1. And that's this big chunk of wood here. So again, I'm just going to check to see where those little tabs are. Get that satisfying snap. And here you go. Now, in the picture, the wider part of the waves have to be facing away from you. And then this slot here is going to go in here, like so. So, let me just make sure I've got that right. Yes. So, the wider edge of the waves are going to be facing away from you, with the outside of the cabin facing towards you. Now, actually, I'm doing it all back to front so that you can see what I'm doing. But trust me, it's so warm in the workshop this evening that my Gorilla Glue has gone off quite quickly. Well, let's get that slotted. And there you have it. Now that was, I'll be honest with you, a really tight fit. And this, I don't know what they'd call it, sort of laminate cover that they've got here. I did actually take a small section off, and that enabled me to slot this in comfortably. So this is just the bottom bit of here. You're not going to see it because it's slotted inside. So, but I did just take that away because it just made it a lot easier. So now what we're going to do is we're going to attach the doors in here. And the doors are G18 on G18 and 19 because there are two of them just here. Okay, now on the instructions, one of the doors is closed, one is glued slightly open. Now these haven't got hinges, so it is just where you are gluing it as to how open it's going to be. All right, so just remember this, so that one of your doors, the door closer to the window, is glued shut. The other one, you're going to glue it so that it looks as though it's open. I know some of you are probably thinking, would it have been easier to have put the doors in before I slotted this panel in? I don't think it would have been, because the wall panel, as I said before, was a very snug fit. So I can turn it round so that you can see. So this door is glued into place. So once again, I'm just putting glue all the way around the edge. I don't know how much of this will be attached to something, but I'm definitely putting glue at the bottom because I think that's where most of the adhesion will be. So I'm just going to face this for me first of all so I can get that slotted in, and then I'll show you what I've done. And there you have it. I know you can see some glue, and I'm going to get that mopped up now. But as you can see, I've got one closed door and one open door. So now I'm going to put this, clean that up. I'm going to put that to one side and do the next deck. So now we're looking for the upper deck. So we're looking for G21 and F11, which is the railing. If you're new to this kind of mini, then it's definitely worth taking a trip over to the Cutebee website. The link will be in the description, just to sort of have a look what they do have on offer. I know a few people, rather than, you know, a big doll's house build, have gone for these smaller builds, and they really are worth it. Okay, and here you've got F11. What's also good with these Cutebee builds is that it comes with everything that you need, furniture-wise. So especially some of the rooms and some of the miniature houses. Everything you need is there. And what's good about that is that it literally means that once you've bought the kit, you don't need to buy anything else. Okay, so we're going to put this railing in. Now, this railing, with, again, the varnished side out, because one side is varnished, one side isn't. Now, we want to be able to see the varnished side from the outside. And this is going to slot into this gap here. So I'm going to get some glue on that. You can see my glue's going a bit like cream cheese. I might have to get some more in a minute. And carefully just manoeuvre that into place and hold it so that it dries. Okay, and that's your upper railing. I'll be honest with you, looking at the picture, I'm not quite sure what step 14 and 15 are. I've had a look further on and I think they are literally just supports to ensure that everything doesn't collapse. So we're going to be going to board D and H to take these parts. So from D, I need D4 and I need D5. And then from H, I'm going to be taking 2 H7s. In fact, I'm going to be taking, all 4 H7s. I've actually found another 2 H7s. Not sure if I need them all. Just going to cut the 4 out for the minute. I don't want to end up with parts that I'm not quite sure where they go. And I want D4 and 5, which are here. So once again, these have come out really cleanly. So up these this way. And these are literally just going to be glued and slotted in like so. So I'm going to go on and do those.
A few moments later.
So there you have those 2 supports. Now we're going to get G17, G27 and H11. Okay, D27 is this tiny little bit. So our G17 slots in like so. That's a snug fit. I'm not going to worry about putting glue in there. And then our D27 slots in there. Now that's fine. I'm going to leave that as it is. And then bringing this back, what we're going to do is we're now going to slot these 2 sections into the back gaps that we've got. Now, according to the instructions, these sections here go on the inside. Now, these are a nice snug fit. So once again, I'm not going to bother putting in any glue. And then we've got G15, and G15 is a cute little Casper ghost. We're going to cut him out and stick him behind the door. It's always trickier to cut something out that's curved, especially when they're on these laser cut boards. But again, it's just about seeing where the connections are. And we're just going to glue him, hold it up to this camera here, so that he's peeping out like so. There you have it. That's looking good. So I'm going to pop that to one side and let him dry. Okay, so we're going to leave it there for this week. Let's see how far we've got. So there's our ladder. We still need to put the balustrade on there. But so far, we've got this made. So we've got the lower deck, a few bits and pieces, treasure chest, really proud of that one. Our barrels, our sacks, and our friendly, not so friendly looking ghost peeping out the door. So join me next time when we do the upper deck and attach the steps onto it. Okay, and don't forget, if you're really interested in making one of these yourself, say the pirate one isn't the only one that Cutebee do, please do take a look over on their website. The link is in the description, and there will also be a discount code that they've offered us. So, you know, take full advantage of that. But if you like this video and you want to follow along, then click the subscribe button and click the bell and you'll get notifications. But if you did like it, please give me a thumbs up. See you later, everyone. Bye.